The distress beacon fired at CO34 station time, and I was the one who pressed it. I want to be precise about that. I, Velkathan Dren, Supply Coordinator, Grade 7. Outer Rim Procurement Division, Harvester Collective. I reached across the logistics console aboard the Endless Margin, pressed the emergency relay with my own hand. I aimed it at Sector Command. I filled in the routing header myself. Destination: Collective Patrol Authority, Subsector 9, Response Class Urgent. I expected a single patrol corvette within 4 hours. Maybe a systems technician. Maybe a letter of administrative censure for the containment failure. What I got was 6 dreadnoughts in 40 minutes. The containment breach was not dramatic. A pressure seal on holding bay 14 had failed. A gradual thing. A maintenance theft failure I had been deferring for 2 quarters because the replacement parts required a purchase order above my authorization level. The bay held atmospheric samples from the colony world below, catalogued for chemical compatibility with collective food processing standards. Nothing alive, nothing dangerous. A nuisance, a 2-paragraph incident report, and a corvette to tow us to the nearest service dock. I sent the beacon, logged the incident, and went back to reviewing the colony's quarterly yield projections. 41 minutes later, comms panel lit up on a frequency I did not recognize. I checked the routing header twice. The incoming signal was not from Collective Patrol Authority, Subsector 9. It was not from any collective installation I had on file. The identifier prefix was a string of characters I had never encountered in 11 years of procurement work, and the timestamp showed it had originated from a deep space array positioned, according to my navigation overlay, approximately 2 systems spinward, a position I had logged some months ago as empty transit space. The signal was addressed, precision that made my secondary heart skip a full contraction, to the Endless Margin, Outer Rim Procurement Division, and specifically to the Procurement Coordinator's console. Not to the ship, to my console. By title, I opened it. The voice that came through was human. I knew it immediately, because I had been working with human biological material for 3 years, and the vocal pattern was unmistakable. A mid-range, unhurried baritone, the kind of voice that belongs to a person who has not raised it in a very long time, because there has been no need. Procurement Coordinator Dren, it said. Flag Captain Senna Volhard, Black Reach Armada, Terran Outer Defense Fleet. We received your distress call at 0341. You'll be seeing us in approximately 38 minutes. I'd recommend you begin preparing your personnel for an orderly transfer of the vessel. I stared at the panel for a moment that I am not ashamed to admit was longer than professionally appropriate. Captain Volhard, I said, when I had organized myself sufficiently to speak. I believe there has been a routing error. My distress beacon was addressed to Collective Patrol Authority, Subsector 9. Yes, we know. Your beacon sidelobe bled onto our deep array at Station Rimwatch 7. We've had a receiver there for 9 months. Your SOS was the first thing you've ever sent us directly. A pause. Though you've been sending us a great deal indirectly, I did not immediately understand what that meant. I understood it approximately 6 minutes later, when the second transmission arrived. A data packet, compressed, formally addressed from the Terran Outer Defense Fleet Intelligence Office, containing in its entirety a copy of the Endless Margin's own procurement database. All of it, every entry, 11 years of yield projections, atmospheric compatibility tables, transportation manifests, and colony survey reports. And at the top of the index, flagged in their own notation system as a priority file, was Catalog Entry 7G Homo sapiens, Grade 3, Protein Stock Distribution, Collective Outer Rim Processing Facilities 4 through 19, Status. Active Harvest Program, Recommended Annual Extraction Volume, see Appendix. They had been reading our files for 9 months. I sat with that for exactly as long as I needed to, which was not long at all, because the viewport behind my console was already beginning to register the transit flash signatures of very large objects dropping out of faster than light travel in the near orbital plane. 6 dreadnoughts. I want to give them their proper description because I think precision matters here, and because I will be giving this account to a review board, and I intend to be accurate. 6 dreadnoughts, each in the 1.4 kilometer class. I know the class because I looked it up afterward, Something I had the time to do while sitting motionless in my chair, plus a screen of 11 escort vessels, plus 2 ships I could not classify, larger than the escorts, lower and more angular, that loitered at the formation's edge with the particular stillness of things that are not idle but waiting. They were daylit. The colony's sun caught their hulls and lit them clean. No drama, no weapons hot, no engines flaring for aggression. They had simply arrived. They held position in a neat formation and did nothing at all except at a scale that rearranged every assumption I had made about the morning. Captain Volhard's third transmission arrived as I was counting them. "For your information, Coordinator Dren," she said, and her voice had the same quality as the first time. A person reading a briefing note to a colleague, unhurried. No particular heat. "We have already dispatched a medical and resettlement team to the colony surface. They landed at Eero 408. Additionally, the Endless Margins Manifest has been transmitted to the Terran Colonial Authority, the Collective Diplomatic Registry, and the Interstellar Commerce Tribunal, along with a formal extraction washeration violation notice under the Rim Territories Compact. Copies have also been sent as a courtesy to Subsector 9 Collective Patrol Authority, since you had expressed an interest in their attention." Another pause. "They have not yet acknowledged we did. The Endless Margin carried a crew of 31, 23 of them. By the time I had finished composing myself and walked to the operations deck, were gathered at the forward viewports staring at the dreadnoughts. The remaining 8 were in holding bay 14, dealing with the pressure seal, which was still failing, indifferent to everything that had happened since. My deputy, a young logistics officer named Veth Oran, turned when I arrived and looked at me with the specific expression of a person who has questions and does not know which one to ask first. "Beacon," he said. "You aimed it at Sector Command." I did, and it went to their listening post, 2 systems spinward, which has apparently been monitoring our operation since last year. Veth looked back at the viewport. One of the dreadnoughts had shifted position slightly, settling into a new orientation, not threatening, just adjusting, the way large vessels do when they are no longer in transit and are making themselves comfortable. "They were already here," he said. 2 systems out." "They were staging," I said. "They had the catalog. They knew what we were doing. They were waiting for a reason. And we gave them one." I agreed. The 4th transmission from Captain Volhard arrived at 0501, and it was the last. Single line, text only, no voice. "For your log, Coordinator, your distress call was received and answered. Response time from beacon to arrival, 41 minutes. We suggest you note the routing error for future reference." I noted it. In the report I filed with the Collective Procurement Authority, eventually, after a great deal of subsequent administrative processing that I will not detail here. I recorded the cause of the incident as follows. Emergency relay aimed at Subsector 9 Patrol Authority. Signal slow intercepted by Terran Deep Array at Station Rimwatch 7. Responding party did not match intended recipient. Responding party arrived 39 minutes ahead of intended recipient's estimated arrival window. Responding party identified the Endless Margin by name, catalog number, and the full contents of our procurement database, which they had held for approximately 9 standard months. I added one further note. In the section reserved for lessons learned, they had us in a file. They had simply been waiting for us to call.